up, everybody? My name is Jared.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Dram Style Whiskey with an Agent. So, Jared, what are we going to discuss today, man?
On this episode, we are going to be talking about home prices, inventory, and sales, and what's going to be happening for 2022. We're going to jump into what's been happening a little bit last year, and then we're going to jump in. I'm saying jump in a lot, but that's fine.
Don't worry about it. Just jump into it.
Let's just jump into it. I feel like I got a pool. I need to go jump into that too. Then we're going to talk about what's going on for next year, or this year rather, 2022.
Yeah.
So, man, there's a lot of stuff that happened last year.
A lot.
It was literally like a roller coaster going, I almost feel like we're still going up the roller coaster. We haven't, like, we're like kind of going down, like we maybe hit, or maybe we're on that second part. Maybe that's a bad analogy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Hitting that second part, bottoming out. No, we're not bottoming out yet.
No, not bottoming out.
I think we topped out.
Yeah.
I think we've topped out. I think prices will still slightly rise, but they'll teeter. They'll just start bouncing now. I think we kind of hit a plateau at this time with everything that we know. And then with interest rates increasing, which is a previous video that we discussed, go back and take a look at that. With interest rates increasing, I think the prices going to start dropping right here. But depending on how investors feel with everything, and I don't know.
And you say that the prices are, we think they might decrease, but I've been reading a lot of these articles, and some of the experts, they don't think that they're going to decrease because let's get into what was going on last year. The inventory was super low, demand is super high, prices going up. And I do a market report every month, and there was a couple of there was one county in specific, it was Martin County, which is down in southeast Florida. They rose in December, year over year comparison, rose 40%.
That's nuts.
40%. So, I mean, that's, I don't even know how to interpret other than that's just, nuts. I think that's the only thing you can say. Most everywhere else, when you look at a year over year comparison, it's right in that 20%. It ranges from about 18% to 25%, depending on the county you're looking at or the specific area that you're looking at. And this is, I'm talking about just Florida. It's a little bit different in other states and different regions of the country, but anywhere from like 18 to 25-ish% year over year comparison just on the home prices. And that's due to the fact that we have a lack of inventory. And when I say a lack of inventory, well, let me pull this up real quick.
Pull it up, man. Pull it up.
I've got, where's it at? Here it is. So from my last market report, this is for the state of Florida. New listings were, for 2021, new listings are right about just over 23,000. Active inventory is right about 30,000. Now let me stop right there, because 30,000 homes actively for sale in December for the entire state of Florida. Back in 2018, 2019, Chris, can you guess what the number was? Do you know what it was?
I mean, for the entire state of Florida? I know we were at like an average of like 7 maybe for Central Florida. So I would imagine for the entire state of Florida, it's got to be, I don't know, close to 60, 70.
Back in 2018, 2019, we were sitting almost about 90,000 homes actively for sale for the entire state. We are a third where we were back in 2018 pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah.
So let me put that back up on the screen here. So we're at actively for sale in December 2021, 30,344. So it has continuously gone down for the entire state of Florida. The median sales price is up 21%. And then it's behind my camera there. Right now it sits at one month
supply
of
So,
inventory.
and it kind of shows you like the absorption rate, like one supply, 1 month. What does that mean? It's like, well, at its current absorption rate, everyone that's purchasing the amount of homes on the market, if no one else put their home else on the market, it'll what's available will be gone in a month.
Yes.
So that 30,000 homes will be gone in a month
Yes.
just by sheer demand. And
Yes.
to take it just demand is that high. Well, where's this demand? It's just like, well, before pandemic, we were seeing roughly what was it 60,000 people moved to Florida like a
Yes.
year. Now
Yep.
we're at 365,000. So
Ooh.
literally 1,000 people a day are coming
Yes.
on average. So
That's too
as you can
many.
see, that's really elevating prices and everything. And so you were saying that Martin County, their
Yes.
average sales price rose 40% over a year.
40% year over year for
Yeah.
December. That's,
Yeah.
I mean,
You want to see what Puerto Rico did year over
do you
year?
have that?
I have that. Let me show you this real quick. So you see my screen, right?
Now we can.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Look at the average sales price year over year, 124% in Puerto Rico. That's nuts
Wow.
for December.
Yeah.
And they're still like in a kind of like a buyer's market because they have 7 months supply.
Wow.
And that wasn't even its lowest.
Yeah.
Like in December, it was its lowest 6
Yeah.
months. But
Wow.
prices, as you can see, has just astronomically increased. And so that just kind of is pretty wild. Oh, sorry. There it goes. But then yeah, they're still in a buyer's market for the most part.
Yep. So it's crazy what the home prices are doing right now, and that's kind of a look at what it was doing last year. There's
Mhm.
some forecasts about what it's going to be doing for this year, but before we get into that, the other thing I wanted to touch on was the amount of cash sales that we saw last year, and I've got a
Mhm.
chart that I'm going to put on your screen here, and this is from SunStats. Um, and this is for the entire state of Florida. So going back to June of 2020, we were at 19% of the total closed homes. 19% of those were cash sales. You can see the
Mhm.
line, the graph, it trends, it skyrockets, it goes way up. And right now for December 2021, we're almost 31%, almost a third of the homes sold in the state of Florida for December were cash buyers. No
Mhm.
mortgage, no
Yeah.
loan, just coming in and dropping cash. And that kind of holds true for people, what we were talking about. People are moving into Florida. They're coming from California, New York,
Mhm.
sometime, in the Midwest, and they're selling homes that are, pretty expensive out there. And they're taking
Yeah.
that cash and buying it here in Florida.
Yep. And they are, and a large portion of that is also just purely investors who want market share, or
Yeah.
because the rental rate is essentially really high. It's up 11%
Yes.
nationally, and so that's also really driving force for these investors. And if you're a conspiracy theorist, like that's like just screaming like the proof is in the pudding kind of thing for you.
Yeah.
But so first time home buyers for the month of December actually rose from 26 to 30. And Jared, I think you actually have a graphic from
I
the National
do.
Association of Realtors
I do.
regarding what was it like and for a home buyer and a seller from 1981 to 2021. And as you can see here, first time home buyers has actually decreased. So what does that mean? Like their investors are taking over. Can you zoom in just a little bit more?
Yeah, so in
Yeah.
1981, the first time home buyers was at 44%, and in 2021, it's now at 34%.
Absolutely wild. And if
Yep.
you scroll down, you can see the age actually increased as well. So affordability has a lot to do with that because, the market has increased overall, but wages hasn't really done very much to keep up with it. So that forces the
Correct.
age to increase. The age right
Right.
now is a millennial. So if you're in your 30s, you're considered a
Hmm.
millennial, and essentially like you're just now getting into the game, and you're going up against
Right.
cash buyers, which makes up
Yeah.
over 30%, 10 near
Yep.
30%. And for the last
Yep.
last month, the cash sales was in Florida alone 23% of buyers for
Yeah.
last month alone. And as you
Yep.
see, 76% in 81 and 82% in 2021 were share bought single family. So essentially, like a family who bought it together has
Right.
increased. So again, that kind of shows that purchase power has gone down for the individual.
Yep.
So
The other thing I wanted to talk about, looking back in the past, is the actual inventory that we've been seeing on a decline since December, or since the pandemic. This goes back. I've got a graph on the screen here. It goes back to December 2019, and back then as I showed, we had about 81,000, 82,000, almost 83,000 homes for sale, and you can see that decline down to 30,000. And then let me show you the month's supply of inventory so you'll be able to see how that equates. So month supply of inventory back in December, we were sitting right just over almost 3.5 months supply of inventory.
yeah,
And
which
then
is
it
still
just,
considered a seller's market, but
it
buyers were
is,
able to get away with some things, not like anymore.
yes, 100%. Yeah, it was still the seller's market. And then that supply of inventory declined into what I like to call an extreme seller's market. I mean, this is, for the state of Florida right now, it sits at 1 month. In certain counties, it's less than a month. It's 0.7 month supply of inventory. So, I mean, it's this is just like I said. It's sort of like a roller coaster. You're like, one thing you see it and you're like, oh, this is good, okay, and then you see something else. You're like, oh man, there's a whole lot of
Yeah.
cash buyers. So how do I compete? That's good for the
Mhm.
sellers, but potentially difficult for buyers. So it's just, again, that's why I was talking about that roller coaster effect. It's like, oh, one side is good, I'm going, it's like, oh, this is fun, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, oh man,
Yeah.
this, it's getting my stomach. Where do I, what do I
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, it's not sustainable, but at the same time, if we have a fallout, it's not going to be a result of the housing market. It's going to be from the stock or something else is going to cause it.
Right.
But as of right now, the market is reacting to a real demand, and
Yep.
I do see a correction looming around the corner, especially with the Fed. So this market needs to normalize. This isn't a sustainable market. Like for a seller, all day long, this is a beautiful time to sell.
Right.
You're gonna definitely rack in some serious money. You have total control,
Oh yeah.
things of that nature. As a buyer, like this is this a good time to buy? Yeah, I mean, with record high numbers, not necessarily, but your interest rate's record low. You might want to
Correct.
start buying now just because interest rates are going to go up, like we've already discussed in a prior video. We're not going to get
Correct.
into it, but just a reflection of what's to come and what's forecasted. I think prices are going to essentially kind of steady and just kind of just do this.
Yep. And that's pretty much, so getting into the forecast for 2022. We talked about in the previous episode what the interest rates are going to do throughout this year, and they're projected to rise. They're already at about 3.5%, give or take. Projected to go up to, some experts are saying, about 4%, and that's going to be part of the reason why the home prices are going to steadily sort of level off. But the experts right now they're still projecting an increase in home prices, just not as steep or as significant as it was in last year in 2021. But there's still going to be a slight increase for 2022. And
Mm,
part of that is because of the high demand. People are still buying houses. You have an influx of cash buyers, and then you combine that with the low inventory. So
mm,
it's just, until we get those inventory numbers back up and we have more new listings coming into the market, until that happens, those prices are gonna stay where they're at, if not continue to just slowly keep increasing through 2022.
I think we're gonna see a brief spike. So last year, can you pull up the sun stats of like solds for the last year?
Yeah.
All right, because you'll see like in April, June, and we've already covered this before, but in April, June of last year, we saw a super low demand, and then prices actually increased a little bit, which was like very odd to see. But because the inventory was so low, it topped out, and I think we're going to see almost an exact replica of.
So to sort of close out, I mean, these forecasted trends here for 2022 is essentially home prices they're not going to be climbing as quickly and as steep as they were in 2020 to 2021, but they're still going to increase. Some of the experts are saying about 11% year over year comparison is what we should see, and a lot of that is just still due to the buyer demand. There's still a high demand. A lot of people buying homes. There's a lot of investors buying homes, cash sales, and then just the fact that we don't have that many new listings, so our active inventory is about a third of where it needs to be and where it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yep. So even like 2019, like a month supply was like around three months. That was still considered a seller's market. A normal market is between essentially 6 and 9 months. That's or even 5 months. I'll take 5 months of supply of inventory, just for make it normal, normalize it a bit. And then a buyer's market is 9+ months.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So that happy medium is right about the 4 to 5 month supply of inventory. And other than that, we're still going to see prices increasing, even though the mortgage rates are going to increase. Home just strictly due to the fact of low inventory, higher demand, and whatnot.
I don't know though, man. I think once the interest rates start really kind of kicking in, and once the Fed changes or does a increase on that, the 10-year is going to be affected, and that's what's going to affect us as a consumer. And I think that's going to limit some purchase capability for buyers. So, but we'll see.
Well, time will tell, right?
Time will tell, and believe me, I got plenty of it.
That's right. We all hope we do.
Yes.
Well, thanks for watching the Dram style, or listening, the Dram style of Whiskey with an Agent. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, whatever the options are.
Share, tag your friends.
Share it, tag them, and leave us some comments. We're always interested to see how wrong we were on some of these forecasts, and let us know.
Yeah, exactly.
If we're way off, correct us, and we'll come back and we'll admit it. I have no problem with that.
And if you guys have a particular topic that you wish for us to discuss or talk about, happy to do it.
Yes. And then if you want to only listen to our beautiful voices, you can do so wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And there's another website called Anchor FM. You can just search Whiskey with an Agent. So that's all we got for you. I'm Jared.
I'm Chris.
We'll see you guys later.
Until next time.